I do, and I do, and I do for you people, and this is the thanks I get. I don't know what that's related to. It just came to my mind. Hi, I'm Scott Ott with Steve Green.
You mean, hi, I'm the long-suffering Scott Ott.
That's right.
There you go. Put a paw.
I cause long suffering. I don't experience it. So be celebrating my 27th anniversary this summer.
Hey,
so,
congratulations. And
actually, I'm still trying to get her to call it our 27th anniversary. But no, everything's fine.
You know, after
anyway,
27 years, you got to pick your battles better than that.
No, that's right. So we get together on a weekly basis and kind of plan out what we're going to do for the episodes of Right Angle at BillWhittle.com.
Very weekly.
And I'm Scott Ott, and Bill Whittle and Stephen Green are with me here. And normally the show is a bit of a charade because, like, before we come on, we've already got a pretty good idea of what topic we want to do, if not having already decided it. However, today is the day.
We don't know what the other guy's doing.
What's that? I meant Steve and I. But today, I actually don't know what to do. And I don't know, guys, maybe I'm alone in this, but I feel like I just have everything fatigue.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
fatigue.
suffering from everything fatigue too.
Well, you got it.
Well, I'll go ahead of you then so that you don't
Please
snipe my particular story.
Yeah, please do.
But Steve Green actually does have the choice to go first on account of him having.
That's true. And maybe I can subdivide one of your topics to steal a topic of my own.
I don't think so. Not in this one.
My main topic is pretty broad this week. I want to do a hit piece on Michael Bloomberg now that he's the next up and coming big name in the Democratic field. And, well, somebody's got to hit the little guy, right?
Yeah.
See, at other media sources, you get what people call opinions, where people do essays or op-eds, or they just kind of talk about what they believe. Not us. We come right out and call it a hit piece.
Yeah. He's so stunningly, impressively, inspiringly maladroit.
And bland.
Well, apparently he was kind of a saucy, spicy guy back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. Did you see this collected wit and wisdom of Michael Bloomberg? A bunch of his employees put this together for him back in 1990. And,
I was afraid to read it.
Well, you know what? The thing is, a bunch of conservatives and Republicans have been kind of pushing this thing as, oh, look at how awful he is. But, I wrote it up yesterday, and I thought he actually came across as not very offensive, sort of bitterly funny, and willing to push buttons, and those are all things I like. I disagree with him on everything politically, but this wit and wisdom collection is not something I'm going to slam him for. I got way too many things to slam him for to waste my time on that.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to read it. I basically sold everything I had to open a farm because I realized it's just as simple as 5 simple steps, really nothing to it.
Yeah.
You just go out there and follow the 5 steps, and then the money comes rolling in.
That's right. That's right. No gray
I read
matter
the broader
required.
context of that quote, Bill, and he did.
Did you?
He was talking about you dig a hole and you put seeds in it, you cover it up with dirt and you put water on it and stuff like that. But the purpose of the remark was not to trivialize the significance of agriculture. He was talking more in the broader context of teaching people who are not using modern agricultural techniques in countries where they desperately needed to. That he was basically saying, look, there's a process of agriculture that is teachable and we can teach it. So it wasn't slamming what America's modern farmer with their, $250,000 tractor is doing out there.
You and your persistent fairness, you make me sick.
I'll give you a couple of the most offensive one of his bits of wit and wisdom. And keep in mind, this stuff is all from the 80s. He was a much younger guy and very what was Tom Wolfe's memorable phrase from Bonfire of the Vanities? One of the low-swinging you-know-whats on Wall Street. He suggested always pick a fight with someone smaller than you, which in his case...
It's tough to find.
Yeah, I like this one. The only liberal I trust is a rich old liberal because they're old enough to understand what they're saying and they're rich enough to pay for what they say.
Interesting. This is offensive how?
Oh, I know. Well, actually,
Not sure
this one is a little offensive, but you can see that in the terms of Wall Street humor, it's pretty much on point. Describing the Bloomberg terminal, this is how he made most of his money, was selling these terminals. It will do everything, including give you a you know what. I guess that puts a lot of you girls out of business.
Well,
Yeah,
so people are upset
I don't
because
think-
he's putting women out of jobs?
I guess so. Yeah.
Binders full of them out of
Binders.
jobs. In
The
fact,
whole automation has gone too far, entirely too far. But no, he's just if he's the Democrats' great white hope for beating Bernie Sanders, oh man, this is going to be so fun.
it's going to be epic.
Yeah.
It's just going to be absolutely epic.
And this is one of those segments where I hope our members and viewers will forgive me for this, but I actually prepped it with like quotes and stuff for you guys to work with.
See,
I've done like
Wait a minute,
I've
hold on,
done
stop. Whoa,
research
wait,
and
stop right here.
preparation.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have to stop. You did research and preparation for this
I
segment.
did.
You're fired.
Hey,
I
Bill,
shouldn't have said anything.
Bill, have we let down our quality control standards? I thought we had that quality under control.
I thought we had that quality under control too. My job is to control the quality here, and I feel like I've been doing a pretty sound job of it these last 6 years or so.
I can't help but think that if I were Michael Bloomberg and somebody started bringing up crass remarks I made about women in the past, and I were potentially facing Donald Trump for the presidential election, I would just say, what, is this a thing now? Is this
Right.
When did this become a problem?
No, you guys have got it all backwards. You got it all backwards. It's like, it's if Donald Trump does it or if a Republican does it, it's evil and wrong. And now if a Democrat does it, there's no way they can get away from it being evil and wrong. It's if they run a white billionaire, a white straight old billionaire after their 15 years now of identity politics and how evil the 1% is, then it's just going to be just going to be.
Occupy Wall Street is going to have to occupy the White House if Bloomberg's ever in there.
Well, it should be interesting in any case. So
it's going to be catastrophic.
So was that a topic, Steve?
Bloomberg.
Yeah, just Bloomberg with an exclamation mark, like it's a musical.
Okay. Bloomberg the musical. Springtime for Bloomberg.
I like just Bloomberg.
Like
now
said like Newman.
Hello, Bloomberg.
Oh,
Okay,
who's that awful writer, I think, for The Atlantic? Beinart. It's impossible to say his name without sound. Yeah, it's impossible to say his name without sounding like Seinfeld saying Newman.
Hello,
Beinart.
I just discovered that the microphone on my camera hasn't been on. Fortunately, I have a backup microphone system. This is very high tech.
I see that.
So the camera should have no audio on it, but I record a separate audio track. It's a very complicated thing. And then we have a whole bunch of squirrels who actually kind of nibble the audio and video and then matrix them together, like mortise them together.
This separate microphone sounds dangerously like quality as well. I'm getting very concerned about the direction this company's taking.
See, I've got this little one on my shirt here that's right on my collar. That actually goes directly into the camera if I remember to turn it on, which it is now. And so whoever's editing this has been listening to that part of the video and just going, there's nothing there. But I also have a microphone right in front of me here that's going into a digital audio recording device. And so that gets actually better audio and we sync them up. And that's the emergency backup, which has actually worked now.
Nobody cares.
I've been speaking into a can of Campbell's tomato soup with a string attached to it. Is that wrong?
I had Campbell's chicken noodle for lunch. It's still good.
That's fabulous stuff, man.
Good.
It's not chickens, it's not noodles, and it's not soup, but whatever it is, it's fantastic. It's nicotine, cocaine, and broth.
It's kind of it's a slippery yellow fluid with the faintest hint of salt.
You can almost go with slimy, but it's just fabulous. It's just fabulous.
I tend to judge my soups by their viscosity. And on that scale,
This was a
Also my
10W30
topics.
can of.
And when I'm on a diet, I go with the 20 weight.
So now, Steve, I don't know if we told you about this before, but on every 3 weeks, we rotate the responsibilities and you get to host an extra show.
An extra.
So 2 shows this week instead of just 1.
And Scott and I, for 2 weeks, have been just dying of curiosity to find out what you want us to do.
It's double the work for the same pay. What's not to love?
That's right. And I'm just thinking there must be some single topic that you would like to do for this extra show.
You know, Scott, oftentimes,
I'm writing it down now.
Oftentimes, I have difficulty narrowing the plethora of topics that I collect in my head every week. Because, writing for Instapundit, not only am I writing 1 or 2 columns a day for PJ Media, but I'm also putting up anywhere between 20 and 30 items a day at Instapundit 5 days a week. So that's a lot of topics that gather up here.
Wow.
And winnowing those down to just one is a difficult task. And frankly, I'm too lazy to do it. So it's another lightning round.
Let's not say gather. Let's just say transit.
Transit. Yeah. They pass through, and occasionally
Yeah,
a little
there you go.
something sticks.
I think that Instapundit condition that you have could be treated with Imodium. I think you wouldn't have so many that way.
But Scott, you're forgetting the advice a friend of mine gave me many, many years ago. A good friend of mine named Tara said to me, Steve, the first step is admitting you like your problem. And I said, well, what's the second step? And she looked at me. What?
We don't need no second steps.
That is a true conversation from about 1992.
Okay, well, so Stephen's going to do the
lightning round, yeah.
The novel concept of a lightning round. Are we even doing lightning pictures on that anymore, Bill? Did you come up with some other
Yes,
idea?
we are. As a matter of fact, fans of the show will be pleased to know that we've never used the same lightning picture twice.
Is that true?
No.
That is true. I think we're on lightning round number 24 now. You're killing me, Larry.
Eventually, when the algorithm is able to read those lightning patterns and determine what the topics were for each episode, then our search mechanism on the website will be even more spectacular.
Well, you would think we would run out of lightning pictures because Steve keeps coming with lightning rounds, but as it turns out, lightning keeps happening, so I think we'll be okay.
So you're saying it strikes more than once?
I am.
Same bottle.
Okay. So, and I've done nothing to advance the cause of having a topic for this, so I'm going to ask that Bill goes next. So
would you like me to read you some of the topics that I rejected
I'll do
for the
it.
lightning
I'm happy
round?
to do it.
No, not yet.
And
not
Scott,
yet. That will be my lifeline. I may have to phone a friend.
Scott, you're not supposed to say that out loud. You're supposed to go like this.
Stretch.
I'll never figure it out.
All right. Well, I, of course, am the master of optics and iconography and looks and packaging and all the rest of that groovy stuff. So I want to cover Donald Trump's black limousine at the Daytona 500, which may be the most epic thing I have ever seen in a presidential election of any kind ever.
And what was it immediately preceded by, Bill? That was magical too.
The flyby by Air Force One.
Big old 747.
Yeah. This is why this guy is president. And when I said I may have mentioned this once or twice before. I mentioned a few days after Romney was elected in 2012, the next president would be a Republican, and he'd come from the pop culture. But when I said he would come from the pop culture, this is exactly what I meant. It would have to be somebody who understood the fact that we live in a world of images and sound bites and optics. And when I saw the jet flyover, I thought, whoa, that's awesome. And then I saw the thing on the track and I thought, even more awesome. He wasn't driving, was he? Does anybody know? I didn't get that deep into it.
I don't think so. I wish he were,
If he had put the driver out and then put Melanie in the front seat and then put on the Beach Boys, rolled down the windows and then driven around, it would have been unbeatable. It would have been the end of the election right there.
I think Melania should have been waving through the moonroof.
Yeah. Like this. Drinking champagne, having champagne just being pushed out of her glass by the rapid speed that the presidential limo went around the track. I'm not joking. I'm serious as I can be. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
It's
especially
just,
in the wake of. Yeah, it's America, and also it's in the wake of the whole impeachment thing. It's like you miserable, whiny, crybaby ninnies. You did it fantastic. You've had your moment. I'm going to go take a victory lap, and when I say take a victory lap, I mean a victory
Actual
lap.
Victory lap.
Yeah.
Have you seen
epic.
this keeps popping up in the comments at Instaplanet. I've seen it both as a GIF and as a T-shirt, but it's a presidential blue T-shirt with a Trump 2020 logo on it, and then underneath the Trump 2020 logo, it says, "Because F you again."
I love it. I want one. Absolutely want one.
I cleaned that
and
up.
No, I think it's absolutely great. And yeah, and you know what? It really is kind of an FU again. Honestly, you Bay Area frickin' billionaire snobs who are so sure you know more about running our lives than we do. You go kiss. You can look at them. I don't even have to look at you anymore. I'm going to take the mirrors off of my car. I'll never see you again. That kind of thing. It's just absolutely epic.
See, now I see something like that. Maybe it's just my outlook on life. And I saw that and I thought, what a cool thing to do for the NASCAR fans, that, to show up there, to, drive out onto the track, to fly over with the jet and stuff like that. And it didn't even enter my mind that this was saying anything to anybody who wasn't there. Like all I was thinking was, no, that's really cool. Bet the people love that.
And I agree with you. I think that was probably his motivation, Now, I remember, and it's been I don't even know what the numbers are anymore, because last time I was even talking about this must have been 7, 8, 10 years ago. But 7 or 8, 10 years ago, NASCAR was far bigger than football and it was just in terms of number of people that actually go out,
Oh, huge, yeah.
Number of people that, it's just gigantic. I think it was bigger than football. Anyways, it was huge. And, and it's like, okay, so we finally have a president who's talking to the other part of the country, the part that works and pays taxes and likes to go fast and other American things, except for paying taxes.
Taxes, yeah. I love this one.
Well, good.
I can think of a few ways to improve it. I think I can think of a few ways that could have been better.
He could have been in one of the NASCAR cars.
Yeah. Nitro burning funny cars.
Now, come on, Scott. Let's not be ridiculous. One thing that could have been better would be if the headlights had retracted and machine guns had come out. That would have been badass.
Yeah.
And then second thing that would have been cool would be if the license plates could have revolved and, and then said like Pelosi or something like that. That would have been cool.
No, there'd be a chase car behind him that would be the Pelosi mobile, and he'd squirt oil out the back.
He could do the oil. Yeah, the oil. Exactly. Yeah. And if hundreds of NASCAR racers have to die after that, it was a small price to pay for a good political image. No, that's exactly right. In fact, that's the ultimate. The ultimate is as he crosses the finish line, he reaches over and ejects from the front seat Nancy Pelosi in effigy.
Oh man, we got to save some of this for the actual segment.
She's already got the rocket sled look. She already looks like she's racing in an open car, NASCAR kind of thing.
Yeah.
See, I think it would have been cool for him to, just to do a lap around the track, get up on top of his car, dump champagne over his head.
That would have been cool.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And one final thing that would have been really even cooler would have been a show of like as a healing thing, like a show of bipartisanship and a chance to bring America back together. Because he could have gone around the track on his in his limo, and Barack Obama could have ridden his bicycle with his safety helmet, and
his mom jeans.
They could have gone around the track together at full speed for each one of them.
Yeah, some lefty on Twitter was complaining. Well, was that safe flying that close to all those people in a 747? Listen, a couple of years ago, I was at an Air Force Academy football game, and we had a flyover by a B-52H. All right, we're talking the big boy with the big engines, eight of those things under there, and a buddy of mine Kojak is an Air Force vet, and he's there. I'm there at the game with him, and that B-52 flies overhead. And it's just the most impressive sound you've ever heard, short of a rocket launch, and you feel it in your bones, right? And I'm slack jawed and wonder. And Kojak leans over to me and says, "Oh, that's nothing. With the old weak engines, they'd have to do these flybys at full throttle. That was only about 2/3."
Awesome. Big black streaks coming out of the back. By the way, could you please bring that up during the segment about that guy giving that, issuing that tweet? Because I would like to respond by saying, yes, I'm sure that if that 747 with the president and the first lady had crashed into the NASCAR Daytona 500 and killed Donald Trump and 60,000 NASCAR fans, he would be weeping for the rest of his life. Undoubtedly,
would go up from the left.
Yeah, the lamentations from the left would be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
I will mention it for the reason you just said, and also because if I can tell that B-52 story twice in one day, it'll pretty much make my day.
That'll do.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is put people in danger who are sitting several feet from a track where cars are going around at 200 miles an hour, separated from you by only a little chain link fence. Okay, so you stalled long enough, and I actually have a topic.
Hooray!
Now, this one's going to require visual aids, and I'm hoping we can actually do the video of this.
Is this going to cost us any extra money?
It may.
There, I got
don't
my
know.
reading glasses. That's my visual aids.
And you've both probably seen this, but our buddies over at Jetman Dubai have reached another milestone in their effort, and this is really for you, Bill. This is my emotional tribute to Bill Whittle. In another milestone in their effort to essentially make us all into Iron Man. And I don't know, have you all seen the video yet?
No.
Of the guy who takes off vertically?
In between segments here.
So they've got this jet suit, which they've been testing for a number of years now, but they've just the new milestone is pretty incredible. The video of it, just first he's kind of on this concrete dock, and he takes off just kind of slightly above the ground and then hovers out over the water. He does a few careful maneuvers of turns and things like that, and then comes back and puts it back down on the dock. And so he's landing on his feet. There's nothing underneath. It's just this wing jetpack on his back. Yep. And then for the second act of the video, he hovers out over the water and then just goes horizontal and kicks this thing into turbo and just goes, and then practically what looks to be like a 90-degree turn straight up. Apparently went up to about 6,000 feet at roughly 150 miles an hour. GoPro cameras mounted on his helmet, flying right over Dubai. Like there's this city, he went toward the city. I don't know if you can do this in the United States. He's like across the water from the city. He goes right at the city and then goes vertical on it. And wow. Unbelievable, cool thing. And that excited me. And, during a week when SpaceX it looks like SpaceX is going to be the first manned private
you betcha, baby.
Company that they beat out Boeing. Even though this week they had a successful satellite launch this week, but when they tried to land on the platform in the ocean, they missed the platform. And
they need a bigger platform, and they need a permanent platform. Just put an oil rig out there. Seriously, how hard is it?
I was texting Steve after I read this story.
Oh, this was a great set of texts you sent me, by the way.
I should find this. Here we go. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I can pull it up too.
Let's see here. Biden.
Do you have it?
Okay. Here it is. I sent Steve a link to the story that said SpaceX rocket booster misses its landing pad. And I said to Steve, when SpaceX screws the pooch, the outcome mirrors what NASA has done intentionally for decades.
Yep.
And then I said, perhaps
get to the next bit.
Yeah. And then Steve just goes, damn, you're right, though. And then I said, soft bigotry of low expectations at NASA. And then finally, SpaceX goved it up.
Goved it up needs to enter the English lexicon.
It does need to enter the lexicon, yes.
So it's kind of cool that when they gov it up, like when they do it wrong, what happens is what government has been doing for decades.
Yeah. Brilliant. I'm really sorry they didn't stick that landing because they were going for the record. How many reuses was that
This
on
would have
that
been
engine?
the 50th landing.
Oh, the 50. Oh, okay. So I thought it was
Yeah.
a record on
I don't think it
number
was
of
a-
uses for a single launch vehicle.
Maybe
That would have been
maybe it was.
50 landings without a loss?
No, I don't think it's
But
50 landings
the
without
50th
loss.
landing.
Yeah, total.
It's
Yeah.
just the 50th
All right.
successful
They'll
landing.
get there though.
Yeah, so
By the way, they missed by 6 yards or something,
was it really?
and they're off the side of the boat. Why don't you just make a bigger boat? You know? I'm not kidding. Put an oil rig out there. Put a big ass platform out there, and that's where you bring your boosters back to.
Have you seen the GoPro type videos of the high divers who climb up that ladder and then they look down from the diving board at that tiny little
Postage stamp.
X at that little pool down below? That tiny little X is what those rockets see from orbit.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
It's just phenomenal. But anyway, it's just an exciting time to be alive when we've got, rocket boosters sticking the landing on a floating platform.
Damn right it is.
Out in the middle of the ocean, guys with jetpacks on their back flying right toward a city skyline. I don't know why, but there was just something primal in me that just went, yes, when I saw
It's
that.
kind of like the 21st century began when Donald Trump was elected. All this cool stuff really just started to happen then.
Now, in fairness, this is Jetman Dubai. I mean, so it's not like it's happening in New York City.
Yeah, but it's Dubai because New York's got better.
I'm not
things to
making
do.
any explicit connection with Donald Trump's presidency personally.
I believe if I could have a constitutional amendment, I'm not joking about this either. I would have a constitutional amendment that says that the tallest building in the world must be in America. That's a constitutional amendment.
There you go.
We could just have like a little Lego kit that they keep in a storeroom, and then anytime anybody builds a taller one, we just get out there and go.
Just add 30 floors. Yeah, just put another 20 on there, whatever.
The excitement's gone because of all the building regulations and codes that have gone up in the last 50 years. I can't remember
disgraceful.
whether it was the Chrysler Building or the Empire State Building, but it was one of the two, where they built the spire inside at ground level where no one could see it. And so nobody knows how tall the building was actually going to be until one day they raise that spire up through the center and go, oh, by the way, you thought it was going to be that tall? It's going to be this tall.
And
that's showmanship.
That's awesome.
I don't think we have one in the top 10. That is a national disgrace.
It is.
We need to start a city out in the middle of nowhere just where we can put the world's tallest building. It ought to be world's tallest buildingville. And it'd be like the twine ball, it's just you go out there to just see the world's tallest building.
And there's constantly a crew out there ready to add another
you can
floor.
put it on the Florida Turnpike. I know exactly the spot.
It does look more impressive to see like what is it called? The Burj Tower or something like that in Dubai. The reason why I think that looks more impressive is because there's really not a huge city around it. Yeah. And it's just it does look like it's out in the middle of nowhere.
And I don't know. This may just be the heartbreak talking. It really may. I'm willing to admit that. But honestly, I look at Dubai and it looks like a movie set to me. Yeah. It's spectacular. But when I say it looks like a movie set, I don't believe it's real. I don't believe anything gets done there. Same for Shanghai.
There was a time, it wasn't that long ago, when 25%, if I remember the figure correctly, of all of the world's cement mixers were in Dubai.
Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's one city, 25% of the world's cement mixers. That's how much crazy construction they were doing. But that was when oil was 120, 130 bucks a barrel.
And they can thank America's big ass automobiles for that.
And now fracking means there's no excuse. I want that. I want a 2-mile building.
Yeah.
In fact, I want the orbital elevator. Let's just go for the gold and put everybody else out of business.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go big.
If you build a tall enough building, then you don't need so much force to get out of Earth orbit.
It's true.
You can just launch rockets from the top of the tower.
Like throwing a softball.
Yeah.
That's essentially correct. Yes, that's why you have to tether this to an asteroid. You have to put tension on the I'm not joking. That's how they have to do it. They put tension on the top of the thing.
If I remember correctly, the biggest technical challenge of the space elevator is developing the cable strong enough to hold that much tension.
And to not generate the static electricity that would electrocute everybody within 3 miles of it.
Yeah, you really don't want to do that.
That seems like a small price to pay for a space elevator, though, frankly.
You ever remember the Jetsons and how their houses just?
Oh, I remember the
just seemed to
Jetsons.
be sort of. I never got the physics of that. Like, where were those houses? They were in space, but they seemed to have like some sort of tower or cable.
No, they weren't in space. They were in the stratosphere where they belong. They were just all Earth-based things. You just never looked down. Why would you ever look down if you're the Jetsons? It's just they were all anchored to the ground. They were in the atmosphere, and they were just like, I live somewhere far, 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 far above Mississippi.
Judy
Something
Jetson
like
was
that,
one of the few blondes I ever had a crush on.
And,
She was
and
hot.
yet the two major industries were still sprockets and cogs.
That's right. That's right. They hadn't had the information age yet. They didn't know.
That's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we have just used up another valuable half hour of your life.
Thompson's transistors and Davidson's diodes, probably, if they brought the show in 5
And
months later.
I want to assure you, we are capable of eating up a lot more than that. And you can find out. In fact, we'd be willing to consume another 3 days of your life if you'll just come with us on the Royal Caribbean Navigator of the Seas for
What
our
a
3-day
pitch.
cruise. And actually, by the time this goes up, I don't know, Bill, how, do we know? Is there a date certain when we are cutting off the
We're
registration?
awful close to it.
What's that?
We're awful close to it. I said we're awful close to it.
Yeah.
But this serves a dual purpose. If it turns out it's not too late, you can get into the last minute. And if it turns out it is too late, you'll be filled with a life of shame and regret.
And jealousy, yeah.
And serves you right too.
It's actually possible to die of envy. And
we're going to make that happen.
Yeah, I had to request time off from my other full-time job, and I was a little concerned that I wasn't going to be able to get it. And I texted my wife, and I said, "Well, I put the request in, and there was one day that was in question about whether or not I'd be able to get that particular day off." And my wife texted me back and said, "Well, what are you going to do if they don't give you the day off? Or what will you say if they don't give you the day off?" And I said, "Bon voyage."
Lovely. Hey, Scott, let me put a bug in your ear. Have you put in for the day off on Wednesday, November 4?
What is happening then?
Well, Tuesday,
That's the day
November
after
3rd is
Trump.
Election Day, and
Okay.
it would be silly, I think, to record all of our shows on Election Day when we should record at least one post-election show on Wednesday morning.
No, we should do them all the next day.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
And we should do an election special. We need to do a live election special.
Yeah, on Tuesday night. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great because I'll be drunk blogging the whole thing for PJ. So you
Can you
know
be
I
drunk
want to
blogging
dial in
and
for
on TV
you
at the
guys.
same time?
Oh yeah, I can multitask.
Okay, I'm making a note of that to see if that's possible to do. The other thing is, and this is, I know we're supposed to be closing this, but for Valentine's Day, and Steve will appreciate this most of all, I think. My wife texted me the other day. She just sent me this text with a picture of Tony Bennett on it, and I looked at her and I was like, "Why are you texting me a picture of Tony Bennett?" And then I noticed it wasn't just a picture; it was a concert ticket.
Oh, you lucky man.
We are going to go see Tony Bennett in April. And once I realized what it was, it took me a second. And then I kind of looked over at her and I was like, I hope he's still alive.
Yeah,
Because he's like 92 years old, isn't he?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the 80s, he was broke, and his son, I think Christopher Bennett. I may be wrong on his son's name. Became his manager and resurrected his career. That guy's done some of his most creative work in the time when most people are retired.
So is Chris the guy
amazing.
who lined up all the duets?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I was a singer when I first got out to L.A. in '88. They called me the Velvet Smog.
It's a Mel Torme reference for.
I understand that. I'm not a barbarian.
No. I was talking to our viewers who might not be familiar with the Velvet Fall.
Is it possible that there's a single viewer who would not be familiar with that?
I don't know.
We
Yes.
do have the young guy, Nolan. Do you know about that, Nolan? I'm not sure Nolan knows about that. He's only like 18 years old.
Yeah.
Poor bastard.
Yeah. Pick up Mel Torme and Buddy Rich together again for the first time. It's a great album.
Oh man. Anyway, so I'm getting Tony Bennett in April.
Right.
If you haven't seen it yet, I'm sure some streaming service has it. Watch Tony Bennett's 90th birthday celebration. There's a bunch of celebrities that sing Tony Bennett songs while Tony sits in the audience and, looking like a 90-year-old man. And then at the end, they bring him up on stage and you're thinking, oh, they're going to pat him on the back and thank him for all his great years and give him a Lifetime Achievement Award or something like that. Instead, they hand him the microphone. At which point,
I knew it.
At which point, he takes the entire industry to school
Really?
and does like 3 songs. And I was just like, that's how you do that.
Oh.
That is it.
Speaking of school, I came across on YouTube a couple of years ago from Japanese TV. They're the only people who saved this thing, apparently. It is a video from the Grammys back in the 70s when Mel Torme and, oh gosh, who was it? It must have been...
It had to be you.
I forget names all the time, and she's just the greatest female
Robert Goulet?
greatest
Oh,
female
no.
vocalist of all time.
Greatest female.
Ella
Ella,
Fitzgerald.
thank you. It was
Oh,
Mel
thank you.
and Ella scatting to Lady Be Good, and everybody in that audience knew that they couldn't measure up to the 2 people who weren't even nominated for anything that night.
Yeah, that's right. Mella.
Mela. I like that. That was Melavision. That was awesome.
That's great.
Okay, that's entertainment, and we've had enough of it. So thank you very much for making it possible for us to do this work that we love, and we will especially love meeting you aboard the Navigator of the Seas. So go to the website,
betcha.
click the link to the big white ship, and sign up for that cabin. For Stephen Green and Bill Whittle, I'm Scott Ott. We'll see you this week on Right Angle.